Okay, so I was doing a little research for about a couple hours, and I figured out exactly how GameStop works the way they do, with how they make their money. So this kind of just gives you an idea of, like, really realistically how much money they make. See, GameStop, we already know that they're shady. I made a video about it. If you haven't watched my version of it, go check it out. The link will be right here somewhere. Anyways, GameStop is a corporation that sells video games, and they like to make money. Obviously. But the question is, though, why do people have such a problem with them? The reason I have a problem with them is because of the fact that they use shady corporation tactics, and that's just, they're not really in the best interest. They're essentially like saying, oh, hey, you don't want that? Oh, I'll just take it off your hands for free. It's like essentially not being fair to you. It's like trying to rip you off, but they just want everything that you have. And here's how they do it. I realized it. So GameStop has a tendency, like with pre-orders, for example, and this might get a little confusing, but again, I'll backtrack it. I'll make another part 2 if I have to. Essentially what happens is GameStop will take, like, for example, like when a new game comes out. So whatever the price of that game is, not just the supply and demand, but just the overall price. Usually it's $59.99. That is the average video game price nowadays. Okay, so GameStop has a tendency to, there's a couple tactics already that we're going to have to explain. There's pre-orders, where they say if you pay $5 now, you can essentially get the game. So essentially forcing you to go there. They'll make a deal with the companies to make it an exclusive to GameStop, or and also what they'll do is they'll take some of the DLC out, and they'll say you can only get it through the pre-orders. But that's again the whole pre-order thing. But DLC and pre-orders are two different things. But there's always one gimmick with the whole thing. Like say, oh yeah, you want to come to our store, we'll give it to you. They're not really in the best interest. They're just there to rip you off essentially. And again, anybody who makes that much money doing that is definitely a con artist and should really be sued for unfair practices towards the consumer. Now, mind you, when you watch this video, okay, I want you to understand one thing perfectly clear. Okay, I'm not saying that GameStop can't make money. I'm not saying that people can't go shop there if they want to. I'm just saying that you're better off going somewhere else, because realistically, when you have a company that's not in your best interest, there's better alternatives. And the only reason why GameStop is still in business, mind you, is because they keep ripping people off. People keep thinking, oh, they're the only ones there. Makes sense. But at the same time, though, they just take advantage of people because they know that people don't have patience. Here's another one that's really interesting. I found this one out recently, but you ever notice why some people buy pointless subscription magazines when people don't even read them anyways? I mean, cool, they're sure to collect, they're fun, but they're not really cool to really look at, like, anymore. So why is it that, like, somebody could pay, like, almost $20 a month for, like, a Game Informer magazine? And again, they're all bought and paid for. And even the reviews are bought and paid for. And so GameStop gets all this money. And this is all pure profit for them. This isn't something that you don't see anybody else taking note of. Anyways, so they get all that money. And then you also have, like, essentially, like, but mostly where their money comes from, though, is buying and selling games. And how that goes, first of all, we have to understand two things. We have to understand where people trade their games in, the trade-in values, and the reselling point. Now, GameStop has a tendency to tell you that, it's like they get their new game prices based off what eBay's willing to pay. But at the same time, though, they'll turn around and sell the game for, like, 5 cents or maybe $5 or something like that. And the reason why they do that is because they're trying to encourage people to buy, like the stupid gimmick is they're trying to sell very low, so that way they can, like, they're trying to buy very low and sell very high because they know that nobody else is going to their store, so they can essentially take advantage of that. But not only that, though, but they're trying to edge people, like they're trying to pressure people, oh, hey, you don't like how much money we're giving you back, oh, buy this power card or whatever the heck it's called, And then even with that, it's still not enough money to buy half the stuff they have there. And then not only that, they Like, I mean, it's just being an asshole is what it is. And essentially the reason I have a problem with GameStop is because when you really realistically look at how much money they make by ripping people off, it's not worth the money in exchange for what they give you. Let me give you another example. If I told you that I was going to give you absolutely nothing in the end, but I wanted you to pay me $60, you would probably tell me that I'm crazy and that I deserve to go to hell because I wouldn't be fair to you. I'd be wasting your time. So, it's not fair to you because, you got something and you want something in return. I mean, it's the only logical explanation. Like Spock would always say, highly illogical. That's exactly how GameStop is. They don't care about you. But again, when they're not in your best interest and they're trying to rip you off, why would you even support them? Why even go there? Why not just go somewhere else? Find a way to put these people out of business. I mean, these people are assholes, and I cannot believe people are still willing to support these. Again, I don't have a problem with the employees as much as I have a problem with the upper management. Those are the people that are responsible for enforcing this shit. And of course, they blame the employees, so okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so GameStop, you can realistically look at, they make, so like 55, like they might tell you that they're willing to sell a new game up to $55. However, that game could have been used. The DLC codes have been already used. And essentially, you could spend, again, like Silent Rob said in his one video, why wouldn't you do that when you could spend $5 more, get it brand new? And assuming that game is, and that's another issue I have with GameStop, their new games have actually been taken out, opened, and resealed. Now, I don't mind them resealing them, but they have to sell it as used, though. Okay, new. You see, if you go on Amazon, you'll have 3 options. You can have, like, it's brand new, factory sealed. You have, it's new, but it's been used, and then you just have used. Like, but it's in, like, maybe average condition. That's why I always import my games, because they're better than, let's say, what other people think. But, GameStop, they want you to pay full price for absolutely nothing. Essentially taking advantage of people. But, when you look at them and you think, oh yeah, they're just doing a good job making money. Well, yeah, by ripping people off. But because the people, unless of course you work there or you just do all this research like I have, you really don't know this. But because so many people love video games and so many people hate GameStop, that's why. They're a shady business practice. Again, go read some customer reviews if you don't believe me. There's a lot of them. Another thing, another way they make money. Where do they get their low prices at? Like, for example, like if you went and bought a game and brought it back the next day, and they said, oh, the best we can give you is only $7 for it. Why are they trading so low? Where do they get their values for that? And honestly, it's got to be like not even 10% of what. Because again, I've seen some people say they went and bought, they didn't take the money, they didn't take the deal, but this is what GameStop was willing to offer them. They just wanted to hear what they would get. I never been to a GameStop, but from what I understand, I've heard of some people going there and selling like maybe an average of like 20-something games. But the fact that GameStop was willing to say, oh, we can only give you $20 for them, when some of these games are still worth more than that. One game, you could sell it on eBay, even with the, a lot of people complain to me. They say, oh, Amazon and eBay, they always, the commission fees and all that, and the shipping and all that. Well, you could sell that yourself, and even with those commission fees, you can still make more money off one game than what GameStop's willing to give you for all 20 of those games. If that makes sense. It's really not that hard, but it's just people are lazy. And it's the only reason why GameStop, at least in this case, people just don't care and they just want to get rid of them. But damn, man, GameStop, man, look at how many advantages they have just because people are impatient and they're willing to just go there. And yet they'll take the lowest. It's like, there's the exit, and just take it out now, rather than, work through the maze and then get to the end. Or however, if you want to think of that as a metaphor. People rather take the easiest way out because they don't care. Weird how GameStop is, though.
Another example of them making a lot of money and how they do this roughly is that they will their average market price is usually anywhere between 5 to 10 times the amount it originally is. For example, there could be games that they have, like, okay, pre-orders, for example. Pre-orders, they make like, what, $5 off pre-orders, and the gimmick is that they're trying to tell you if you put $5 down now, we can guarantee you we'll have it later on. Even though this isn't necessarily true, there's been people that they've actually sold their pre-orders. There's even been times when instead of canceling, they just flat out canceled people's pre-orders because they wanted to, so they kept the pre-orders, and they said, oh, we don't have any more copies. But there were people that were saying that they had those copies. You guys remember when the Wii's came out, and they said, oh, we were sold out? There were times when GameStop literally, they were selling really good at the time. But at the same time, though, there were times when GameStop would say, oh, we don't have any more of those, but they had them in the back room. And they were lying. They were full of shit is what they were. And they were canceling people's pre-orders because they could make that extra $5. Now, I don't know how many pre-orders GameStop gets on a daily basis. Again, you're going to be seeing a lot of the pictures you're probably looking at in this video that I'm going to go and add into this video after I'm done with this video. This is going to be stuff that I'm not looking at right now, but this is like what you're going to be seeing before I look back at it, and you're going to be surprised at some of the shit that, these numbers do not lie. GameStop is a very shady company, and I would sincerely hope they go bankrupt. I mean, even though it will never happen, considering that, they'll just move to something else and survive. It's like a terminal disease. It's not cured. Well, I mean, at least it'd be like GameStop going around corrupting everything, and then nothing can kill this virus, or something like that. Weird. But anyways, GameStop is interesting, though. They tell you that they're for your money, your pocket, your money, but yet all they do is rip people off. You see, even a long time ago, GameStop's motto was always to buy a game and then sell it for high. But GameStop does it in a way that it's not really a good idea. It'd be like, like take the amiibos with Nintendo, for example, the scalpers. The same reason people hate scalping. There's nothing wrong with wanting to buy and resell something to make money, as long as you're fair about it. But no, we're talking about people that essentially they control the market. Like, in some aspects, if someone buys enough copies of something and turns around and sells it, they can not only that, they're just controlling the market. It's supply and demand. That's the only reason why some games, they could be like worth $157 or more, because some guy was able to sell a couple of them before the market came to a close on it, or they don't print them anymore and the game went up, and because some people are selling them for that price, everybody wants to sell it for that price and get that much money for it, which sucks, but hey, that's the reality of it. So GameStop, it's kind of GameStop's fault, but at the same time it's not, at least in that example. But really, I still blame them for being a shady company because, hey, they're assholes. They don't give a fuck. They wouldn't be making this much money if they weren't ripping people off. I bet you if they were being honest, they would probably still be struggling to make money in some aspects. They wouldn't be making as much as they are now if it wasn't for that. So if you can think of market prices. Okay, so, let's think about customers next. Okay, how many customers do they really get? Last time I checked, they get quite a lot of customers every day. Cities are big, usually you're going to see GameStop within a population of 100,000, maybe 80,000. Couple thousand maybe. It varies, but small cities where I live, they don't necessarily have like huge retail stores. We got an independent video game store, but the guy is kind of like, I'm his friend, but he recently just told me that he doesn't want me working there anymore because he's kind of shady too. He does a lot of stupid shit GameStop does. Maybe because I complained to him that GameStop really wasn't really the best company, but hey, when you're in business, you really, people say, oh, they got to make a living, but what they'll never tell you is the tactics they use. And most companies, without a doubt, are shady. So, when you think about it, you really just got to find a way around this shit. Kind of like me. I started my own business, and I'm fair to people. So, again, I'm not a liar, but, but again, you would have to look into that to see what I mean, but again, that's the problem with people. People get so overconfident with making money that they just say fuck everything else and fuck the people that, they don't give a shit. Why would they? After this video, you'll see how much money GameStop realistically makes, and
You know, I mean, you could say it's subjectable, but really, I mean, again, they're still young, they're ripping people off, they don't give a fuck. You could, I could even say in some aspects, it's maybe not all of it is GameStop's fault. Maybe it's the people's fault for being dumb to still support this company. And me giving them free advertisement because I hate them so much. You know what I mean? Kind of weird how that works, but it just is. So, really what we have to do is we got to understand that GameStop really does suck. They're not there for the same reason you would think. They are there just to make money, but they do it in such a bad way. It's like, because they know that people are going to go there because they got something they want. But the problem is, though, they're going to take advantage of people and make as much money as they can. And not in a way that you would think, though. Because, again, you'd have to see it to believe it, and, again, knowing reality is you can't really trust people. That's usually just not how it goes. GameStop's the same way. They might say, oh, hey, we got a game here that you might want. But yeah, it's not necessarily as good as they're advertising it as. So, hopefully this video kind of showed you a little bit, because I know 16 minutes is quite a long video, but hey, this is a lot of useful information if you're someone who's considering working at GameStop, considering, hey, I would recommend this advice. When you go to GameStop, check your alternatives first. If you want to just go there to browse, just browse, see what they have, compare their prices. But think of it like this, though. Unless you're getting a good deal, do not take it. But at the same time, though, don't feel shocked. You've not been the only one that people have been ripped off, taken advantage of. It's not just you. So again, favorite, comment, share this video, whatever. Just send it to people. Just do me a favor. If you want. Just think twice before you do something. Because we might not look at it now, but you got to think about it, though. The reason why GameStop became such a successful company is because so many people kept going there. So if at some point in the past, if people would have stopped them, they wouldn't have been where they're at today. And that's how these other companies build themselves up. If you see a shady company doing stupid things, don't give them your business. Because who knows? Maybe one day there could be another company that's even worse than GameStop, takes their place. And then it's just the same thing all over again, but in a different formula. But it could have been prevented if people would have just went somewhere else, someone more fair and more honest.